In July 2020, the Mexican State Intelligence launched an operation against Jose Bernabé, alias La Vaca, one of the main criminal operators in the North Pacific and the leader of the independent Colima cartel. The case was named The Farm due to the fact that Jose's nickname is the cow. The Mexican Navy obtained the phone numbers from his sister, information that she gave to the regional intelligence fusion centers in the area with offices in Sinaloa and Colima. In August of this year, the Ministry of Defense finally arrested the criminal in a central neighborhood of Mexico City. His capture was much commented due to the reaction of his henchmen. La Vaca's group set fire to cars on the main avenues of Colima. A criminal tantrum, a way perhaps to put pressure on the authorities and force the release of its leader. However, that wasn't something absurd. Criminal groups had handled similar strategies in those weeks in Jalisco, Guanajuato, Ciudad Juárez, and Tijuana, all with the hopes of having the same success that the Sinaloa cartel had years before in Culiacán when they obtained the release of one of El Chapo's son, Ovidio Guzman. The government of Colima reported that the criminals set fire to 14 vehicles and shot at several buildings in the hours after the capture of La Vaca. His group fell, however. The fires in Colima did not affect the capture in Mexico City. The fall of the criminal closed years of investigation. Case The Farm is only part of the surveillance operations that the security forces initiated against the group. Known in the area as Los Mescales, one of their greatest concerns these years in the Pacific. In several documents of the Sedena under the name Panorama Delictivo or Blancos, La Vaca appears as one of the main objectives, first as part of the structure of the Jalisco New Generation cartel and then as the leader of Los Mescales. In January 2020, La Vaca had been released from prison after doing 7 years. Such has been the concern for La Vaca that when the president Andrés Manuel López Obrador was preparing a work tour in Colima in November of last year, Sedena prepared a risk agenda of the visit. Of the 9 slides that make up the agenda, an entire one is only for La Vaca. The slide points out that there was an increase of violence in that area from January 2020 to January 2021 due to the release of La Vaca. The National Guard and the Army consider that the increase in the murders in Colima and its metropolitan area from his release has to do with him. Both units held several meetings in the middle of the year to find a solution. One of the conclusions they reached was that the main generator of violence in the area was La Vaca's group, which had a confrontation for the control of the territory, according to an information card of the National Guard a few months ago. Regarding the confrontation, an analysis prepared by the command of the 20th Military Zone based in Colima in January gives more details. Its author points out that during 2021 there was an uptick in the violence in those municipalities, referring to Colima's capital and Villa de Álvarez, due to the war between CJNG cells, in particular the Los Mescales group headed by La Vaca and another one led by Alrid Miguel Jarquin. The same documents adds other reasons to the increase in murders linked to organized crime. He points out that in addition to the fight of these cells, there are also homicides of people who acquired drug debt or carried out illicit activities independently, and who are a part of local organized crime groups that aspire to maintain their presence in their areas of influence and scale their actions and profits. In April of this year, the Northwest Intelligence Fusion Center, CERFI, based in Mazatlan, Sinaloa, sent an information card about the case to the Fusion Center in Colima. The document explained the beginning of the case in July 2020 and requested to have access to the phone of La Vaca's sister. The authors pointed out that they had already punctured 11 telephone lines, including another sister of La Vaca, its operator in charge of the drug houses, alias La Mirla, and 5 more linked to criminal cell operators. The fusion centers had built a technical circle. In addition, the authors pointed out that the authorities had found 2 departments of the group, both in the center of Colima, and they suggested that La Mirla was collaborating with the authorities. In June, a report on Blancos who generate violence in the state insisted on the struggle within the CJNG as the main reason for all the increase in the violence in the region. Several information cards that the National Guard sent to the command of the 20th Military Zone in mid-August illustrate the follow-up of the neighborhoods allegedly controlled by the group in Colima. On August 17, a call was recorded where they talked about patrolling the neighborhood Rivera del Jardín. On the next day, the agents went on the outskirts of the state prison, where they managed to track La Vaca trying to do some calls. The agents took their chance, not wanting to make this longer and raise some suspicion. They knew the time they had was short, but they knew it was possible. That day, August 18, La Vaca was arrested in a public road of Mexico City.